Hello teachers. The purpose of this video is to give an overview of hybrid instruction. There are a series of frequently asked questions. Of course, we're not going to answer all of those questions here in this first installment, but I'd like to walk you through what hybrid instruction looks like, and teacher responsibilities, and ultimately what this all means for our students. First things first, what is hybrid instruction? Hybrid means that your classes will be split. Unlike being fully in the classroom, where all of your students are in one room and you're teaching them all at the same time, of course, hybrid means that some of your students will be face-to-face in the classroom and some of the students will be taking part in online activities, whether that's through live streaming or other assignments that have been posted. School day. What does the hybrid schedule look like? In our hybrid schedule, we will not have blocks. Our 6-day cycle will be interrupted. Every student that's in the building will meet with their teachers during that day of school. Our class periods will be shortened slightly to about 39 minutes. And in essence, instead of going through the A, B, C, D, E, F 6-day cycle, all days will be, every school day will look virtually the same for students. They will have those same classes, period 1 through 9, with the same breaks. Another change involved with this schedule, of course, will be the pause days. On a regular 5-day week, we will allow Wednesday to be a pause day. I'll explain that in greater detail in a moment. Next is a question of who actually is in school, who's going to be assigned for in-class instruction on any particular day. We're going to call these blue and gold days and basically give you blue and gold students. On a blue day, students A through L will be in-person instruction. On a regular week, that will be Monday and Thursday. On a gold day, students M through Z. And of course, this is going according to last name. This is all alphabetical. They will be involved in in-person instruction on Tuesday and Friday, with the Wednesday, of course, serving as that pause day. So what are the teachers' responsibilities on a Wednesday pause day? So first, what's the purpose of Wednesday pause day? It's really to help connect and support students. It's a day to take a breath and step back and to regather. Due to this new schedule and the changes involved in hybrid instruction, it's going to be a positive for both students and for teachers to have that pause day. But one way to help connect teachers to students and students to teachers is mandatory office hours. So every teacher will be responsible for 2 hours in which they are available through Zoom, and students will be able to sign up. That will be mostly optional. For students that fall behind, there will be exceptions that are made, or students at a particular level, there may be exceptions made in which it's best to meet during each of those office hours. But generally speaking, that will be optional. Also on Wednesday, of course, department meetings will be held periodically. Not every department will meet every Wednesday, but that will be an expectation. And there will be additional trainings as we see the value of all these different of those. So what does a pause day mean for students? A pause day for students is both a day to take a breath and take a step back, but it may also be an opportunity for retreats and different enrichment programs, enrichment activities. These things will be non-academic. But really, a student will have an opportunity on these pause days to make up work, to contact teachers, also to set up test makeup or some test taking for students that have chosen an online instruction. And it's going to be an opportunity to prepare the school through sanitation and cleaning for that following day's class. So the first pause day is actually scheduled for September 2nd. Itself. A recurring question when it comes to hybrid: what do we do about attendance? We're only going to have part of our students in class, the other part of our students will be split and they will be at home. So all attendance will be recorded in PowerSchool for in-class students. So we will be taking in PowerSchool in attendance of those students that are to be in class for that day, whether it's their gold day or whether it's their blue day. Students non-school will be marked H for hybrid or O for online. That doesn't mean that they're going to be forgotten about or that they won't be tracked in some way, but it won't necessarily be through attendance. Participation in Zoom meetings should be recorded in gradebook by classroom teachers. So each classroom teacher will have an obligation and responsibility to follow their students and see who is engaged in their online work. What steps do I need to take as a teacher with students that are unresponsive to their work? Step one is always to keep accurate records of who is in your classroom. Second piece, of course, is to keep tabs on the students who are taking part in their online portion of their instruction. So again, teachers will have the opportunity to make decisions about whether they choose to lead their instruction synchronously through Zoom, or they want to give their students at-home work to complete. If these students are unresponsive at home, if they're not completing their work at home, then first the grade book should reflect a student's unwillingness to complete those particular assignments. Students will be in the classroom, again, twice a week in a regular schedule. So the communication piece will be greatly increased from what it was in an online environment. But students that repeatedly are failing to complete their work at home, or are falling behind, of course, it's customary to send an email or a call home, no matter what the environment, whether that's online, whether that's hybrid, whether that's fully in class. And of course, keep the counselors and Andy and his team informed with what's taking place with your students so that they're not falling off. Get back to a couple of scheduling questions. All right. So we've moved away from a 6-day block. Really, what does that look like? How do we accommodate for that block schedule within our new hybrid schedule? Well, this is a specific example here. This is an explanation of how. PowerSchool reflects a 6-day cycle, and that will not change. We talk about them as odd days and even days. So how does that fall into our regular 9-day class schedule now that those block days have been eliminated? This is one way to look at it. If a student had PE, if they had physical education on an odd day, and they had biology on an even day, so if they had PE on A day, biology on B day, for instance, what will be expected of that student, how that student's schedule will run, is period 1, they're going to go to physical education. Period 2, those students would go to biology. Those odd days would come before those even days. And again, these classes are 39 minutes. I know that's going to put some additional strain on some of those classes that typically had run with a block of about 84 minutes. But this is the only way that we could accommodate those students and enable them to meet with their teacher each and every day that they're in class, and allow a teacher to meet with a student to meet with a teacher twice per week. One question that has come up time after time, will we be able to conduct objective tests in the hybrid? Of course, objective testing will return to the classrooms of Central Catholic with a hybrid. I would still encourage teachers to use as many alternative forms of assessment. Students that opt out will still be placed in a group, blue group or gold group. They will have an opportunity to meet with their teachers during office hours, and really as they had during the online portion of last school year. And they will also be responsible for completing tests. Wednesdays and Saturdays will be designated for the makeup of those tests for students who have opted out. In the hybrid model, teachers will have a choice to lead their instruction asynchronously or synchronously. The asynchronous model will be any instruction that doesn't take place at the same time. The synchronous model would be the live streaming Zoom, in which all the instruction takes place at the same time. So what are the expectations for the students not scheduled for in-class learning? That depends largely on the teacher and on the teacher syllabus. In the synchronous model, teachers can deliver 4 pieces of content Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and can build off of that content. Half the students would be in the classroom, half the students are Zooming in from home. The asynchronous model is a little bit different. The asynchronous model, you'd still look to cover 4 pieces of content, but one of those pieces of content would be delivered at school, live, in the classroom. The second piece of content, of course, would be delivered at home on the student's own schedule. So for instance, if you were a blue student and your teacher was leading asynchronous instruction, that teacher would be leading a particular lesson for the students in the classroom and would provide a second lesson, a second piece of content for students that are at home. Their assignment could be anything from watching a screencast video to creating a timeline to doing a piece of reading to doing a piece of writing, whatever that may be. There would be a separate piece of content. So a piece of content for the in-classroom instruction, a separate piece of content for the at-home portion of that instruction. Teachers should consider a few things when making this decision between asynchronous and synchronous instruction. One thing they should consider is the level of their students. Do I have honor students that are juniors and seniors, or do I have freshman and sophomore students that are level 3 and level 2? And the reason to consider this, of course, is the amount of attention required and the level of maturity needed to take part in these Zoom meetings. I think we've learned that through the course of the spring. The second consideration is what your content area is. Generally speaking, the humanities lend themselves more to asynchronous instruction than does math and science.